big news this Monday morning is that Trump and the US have joined the war against Iran, joining Israel in the fight. And even bigger news, in my opinion, is Iran has voted to close the Strait of Hormuz. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to recap everything that's happened over the weekend, because it's been crazy, what happened next, and ultimately, seeing this is a financial channel, is financial and economic chaos coming our way, and what can we do about it? So if you're excited to watch the video, want to like, want to subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. So I'm not a geopolitical expert or anything like that, but I have been listening to a lot of war experts and geopolitical experts, because I really want to figure out what is going on, because ultimately what happens with this war is going to affect us directly, and it's going to affect our finances in the economy. So war and geopolitics fit very closely together with the economy, investing and finance, as everyone knows. So I've been listening to a lot of different people, and I can tell you it's a very complex picture, because there's a lot of lies being spread just to really sort of smokescreen the people. And my advice is to listen to the independent journalists, because mainstream media isn't giving you the truth. So let's recap. So I do believe it was Saturday morning, Trump bombed Iran's nuclear facility. And here is the thing: this bombing seems to be more of a PR stunt than a declaration of war, because the nuclear sites that Trump bombed, they were empty, and there has been minimal damage. I think Trump did this more of a PR stunt to save face, but he's actually pleased Israel, because if you don't know Trump, during his campaign to become president, he was backed by a lot of Israeli billionaires who could, really push policies on him. So I think he's basically pleased them by doing the bombing. I don't agree with it. I think it's a really stupid thing to do, because regardless whether it's a PR stunt or not, it has now dragged the US into a war with Iran. And basically, as we speak, over the weekend, and I think moving forward, Iran is absolutely hammering Israel. I heard one commentator say, who's highly respected, Colonel Colin McGregor, basically say that within a couple of weeks, Israel might not exist, which is actually quite worrying for one very important aspect that I'll come to in a minute. Iran has vowed to retaliate against the US and pretty much destroy Israel. And as I said in the intro, I think it was yesterday, Iranian government voted to close the Strait of Hormuz. So basically, what is going on here? It is very hard to decipher. I think on the surface level, I think Israel have basically dragged Trump into this war, because he's either a really bad actor, or basically he's been blackmailed to do it. I don't know yet. I guess only time will tell. But there's basically, by joining this war, in many ways he's damaged his legacy, because he promised no war. I know Trump says he wants peace, but not a great way to go about it. And also, I think a lot of his supporters are going to turn against him now. So it'd be really interesting to see what happens to Trump now over the weeks and months. I really hope that everyone can just get around the negotiating table and thrash this out. But I think basically this war is only going to escalate from here, because I think Iran's going to show no mercy on Israel. All of the US staff and Marines and soldiers and ships who are out in the Middle East are very vulnerable now. They could come under attack, and I think if Iran attacks the US military, like ships, bases, or anything like that, that will force the US to join the war directly, and things will basically escalate from there. So what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks? Very, very hard to say. I think one thing is for certain, this next week or two is going to be highly volatile. I mean, there's going to be a lot of to and fro. I think there's Iran's going to continue to pummel Israel in the hope that Israel will submit. I'm just bringing it back round why that could be a bad idea. If you don't know, Israel secretly hold 200 nuclear warheads, and they've got a nuclear doctrine called the Samson option that basically says if Israel is facing an existential threat, they have the right to fire nukes at will at whoever they want. So basically their view is if Israel falls, everyone falls. So basically if Israel is on the brink of being wiped out, Netanyahu will probably fire a nuke at Iran, and God knows whoever else, because the guy is an absolute madman. I don't care what anyone says. Netanyahu is not a nice man, he's a terrorist. Yeah, in many ways it'd be great if the guy is gone, but yeah, I'll just leave that there. And I've also heard Colin McGregor basically say that he wouldn't be at all surprised if Trump has said, look, to Netanyahu, if you use a nuke on Iran, we wouldn't use a nuke on you. So basically, it's a highly volatile situation. Israel is losing. When history looks back on this, it's not going to look good for Israel and the US. Israel has shown it's really shown who it is by basically attacking Iran when negotiations were going on. They're nearly complete. Iran wanted a deal. So Israel has shown really that it is basically nothing more than a terrorist state. And with the US backing Israel, the US looks pretty much like it's not exactly showing itself in the best light. And it's shown it's not trustworthy around the negotiating table. So Trump has created an almighty rock for himself, and it's up to him to sort it out. So, yeah, I think a lot of the war experts are basically saying this war is going to escalate from here. But I really think bringing it round to the economic side of things now, we really need to watch what Iran do at the Strait of Hormuz, because if they completely block that, no oil tankers are getting through, which means crude oil prices got up. By the way, the crude oil has already increased by 3% since the US bombed Iran. Nothing major, but it is creeping up. If there's an oil supply issue, if they completely close the Strait of Hormuz, or if they basically stop oil production in the Middle East, it could cause the global economy to collapse, market would crash. It would cause absolute chaos, because if there's no oil getting through to much of Europe and parts of the US, petrol prices could potentially double. If there's petrol shortages, that's going to affect food delivery. Just basically within a couple of weeks, if the oil dries up due to supply demands, it's going to cause absolute global chaos. And obviously, oil and petrol go up, that's going to increase inflation. If inflation goes up, interest rates are going to have to go up. So the average consumer is going to get absolutely walloped in more ways than one. In many ways, the economic fallout is more scary than nukes flying around, and we all hope that nukes don't fly around. So basically, we really have to watch this very carefully, because if the Strait of Hormuz is completely closed and oil production is stopped in the Middle East, the global economy is going to collapse. And I've heard one commentator say that it's going to make 1929 look like a walk in the park. It's probably going to be one of the biggest global financial catastrophe we ever see. And I'm not saying that to scaremonger, but it really could be absolutely catastrophic for the global economy, the stock market, and everything like this. But okay, so that's basically where we are with a war. Highly volatile situation. US is part of the war now. Strait of Hormuz, they're going to try and close it. And from there, we really need to see what happens next. Highly volatile situation. I expect the next 4 to 6 weeks to be highly explosive. But here's the interesting thing. I'll wrap up the war bit with this. In many ways, I think things could potentially get quite bad. But I think once the worst of it is over, things will improve because people will realise that things have to change for the better. So whilst we could all go through some real pain, mostly economic, in the weeks and months ahead, potentially, it might be for the greater good because it's going to force massive change. It will probably force the US to leave the Middle East for good, which I think is a good thing. And I think, if Israel is, whilst I don't particularly like, I don't like Netanyahu and his Zionist regime, but if Netanyahu's government collapses and Israel collapses, in many ways that might not be a bad thing for the Middle East and the world because we'll finally see peace and the whole rest of it. So there could be a silver lining to all of this down the road at some point. So basically, all of this could potentially cause a global economic catastrophe, especially if oil is hugely disrupted. But one thing I want to remind you of, I said this in one of my other videos, if you look at all of the major financial crashes and catastrophes we've seen over the past decade, yes, the markets have dipped, but they have always recovered and usually stronger, much stronger. So as for you, if you're watching this and you're worried about your finances and what to do next, keep a cool head. I would just say, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to put a bit of money in gold, great, because gold's always going to be a good bet. This isn't financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor, but gold's always going to be there. It's always going to hold value. But my advice is just keep doing what you're doing. Keep investing your money in whatever you're investing in, and diverse. And just keep doing what you're doing. Now, obviously, if there is economic turmoil, the biggest economic crashes do create massive opportunities for wealth. I mean, at the moment, the market's going to be very volatile. No question, because there's a lot of uncertainty at the moment about where this war's going to go. What's going to happen, with oil production and the whole rest of it. But volatile markets are great for short-term profits in trading. And basically, one way I'm looking at sort of trying to profit off the swings in stock prices by using options and leveraged ETFs. And with these particular financial instruments, you can bet on stock prices and win whether the stock price goes up or down. And the guy I follow that to get sort of short-term trade alerts is Larry Benedict. He's got a service called One Ticker Trader. If you want to check that out, I'll leave a link in the comment description below. So I think really keep what you're doing. If you want to trade the volatile markets, have a look at using options, leverage ETFs. Like I say, if you want to learn how to do that and get, short-term trades, check out One Ticker Trader below. Don't panic is probably my thing. Now, my other lane that I really believe in is AI. Regardless of what happens here, unless the world ends, AI isn't going anywhere. In fact, if AI stocks really dip during this sort of next 4 to 8 weeks, that could create huge opportunities to get in at good prices and make big gains, because the global elites have chosen AI as the tool of choice to basically govern the world moving forward. So AI technology isn't going anywhere. In actual fact, this morning, I think, saw a tweet saying Elon Musk has launched his robo-taxi service. And I do believe in late July, he's launching his physical AI robot. The name of it has left me. But basically, my point here is AI isn't going anywhere. It's accelerating. So I'm going all in on AI stocks. I really believe in AI stocks. And there's one guy I follow for that because he's the best in the business. That's Jeff Brown. He's got a service called Near Future Report. And basically, through his Near Future Report, he gives, monthly updates on the stock market, AI stocks, big opportunities. But also he gives, stock AI recommendations, and he's got research reports and everything like that. So if you're interested in investing in AI stocks, probably the biggest bet we have right now. I'll leave a link to Jeff Brown's Near future report down below. I've been a member since 2022. Love it. If you're interested in AI and tech, highly recommend you check it out because you get a 60-day money back guarantee. So I'll leave a link in the comment description below. Last thing I'll say is also I've created my free one stock AI brief. It's one page, brings you up to date with the AI market, and it's got 3 of my favorite AI stocks in there. Completely free to download. So if you want to download it, I'll leave a link in the comment description below for that. Anyway, that is what I've got for you. US has joined the big stories to finish. US has joined the war with Israel against Iran. It's probably going to escalate from here. We need to watch the Strait of Hormuz closing on what's going to happen to oil and basically what's going to happen to the global economy and the markets, because I think it's going to be very volatile, nothing else, over the 4 to 6 weeks. But as ever, let's hope for a peaceful and swift resolution within the next couple of weeks, because no one wants war. I think we're all sick and tired of it. So let's all keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, I hope you got value from the video. If you liked, want to subscribe to the channel to get more content like this. Comment below with your thoughts. And thanks for joining me.